Welcome to The Explainer, where we turn complex topics into clear, actionable guides. Today, we're cracking open the playbook that separates a good Scrum Master from a truly great one.
So what's the big difference? Is it just about running meetings really well? No way. It's about solving the problems, the really tough ones that are blocking actual value from getting to your customers.
That's right, they're the ones who solve the problems that nobody else can even touch. And that is the playbook we're unpacking today. First up, the art of managing expectations. Okay, first section, the art of negotiation. Because let's be honest, a great Scrum Master is basically an expert negotiator, right? You're always in the middle, balancing what stakeholders want with what's actually possible in the Agile world.
And you see this classic clash all the time. Leadership comes in and says, we need a fixed 2-year plan with a fixed scope. But you know that's the polar opposite of Agile, which says, hey, you can fix the time and the budget, but the scope has to be flexible. Trying to lock everything down for 2 years, it's just a recipe for building something nobody wants by the time it's finished.
So how do you push back on that without just saying no? Well, you introduce them to a powerful idea, the cone of uncertainty. It's pretty simple. Right at the beginning of a project, when you know the least, your estimates are going to be all over the place. That's the wide part of the cone. But as you learn more, as you actually start building, your estimates get way more accurate. The cone narrows. Fixing scope on day one is literally like trying to hit a target in the dark.
So the move here isn't to tear up their roadmap. No, you reframe it. You say, look, let's treat this as a high-level vision, not a detailed contract. Then you give them what they really want, predictable costs, by using fixed-length sprints. And here's the most important part. You schedule regular reviews, say every quarter. That's when you have the real conversation about trading scope to protect the deadline. It's brilliant, really. You give them predictability without killing agility.
And this doesn't just work for long-term plans. What about that short-term pressure? You've all been there, right? The client says, I know you estimated 4 months, but we need this feature in 2. The principle is exactly the same. It's all about facilitating a trade-off that's based on data, not just demands.
Your goal is to get everyone out of that just work faster mindset. So first, you bring the data. You show them, hey, based on our team's history, this is a 4-month feature. Then, you completely reframe the question. You ask, okay, given we have 2 months, what is the single most valuable part of this we can deliver? And see what that does? It forces a practical conversation about slicing down to the MVP, the core value, so you can deliver something real.
All right, so managing external pressure is one thing. But what happens inside the system? This is where we shift from negotiation to science, the science of value flow. A great Scrum Master isn't just putting out fires, they're optimizing the whole machine.
And this leads to one of the most frustrating questions in Agile, doesn't it? Why do features take so long when my team is always busy and they're hitting their sprint goals? It feels like a total paradox. The team is working hard, but value is just trickling out. The answer is almost always hidden in your flow metrics.
Okay, let's break this down. You've got cycle time. That's how fast the team works on a task once they actually pick it up. But then there's lead time, and that's what the customer actually feels. It's the entire journey, from the moment an idea is born to the moment it's live. And if that lead time is long, it means that work is getting stuck somewhere.
And that stuck time has a name, queue time. It is the invisible work killer. It's all the time work spends doing absolutely nothing, just waiting. Waiting in a backlog, waiting for a review, waiting for a release. And here's the kicker. This is often the biggest part of your lead time. Your first job is to make this invisible waste visible to everyone.
To do that, you have to change what the organization measures. You've got to steer them away from these old, frankly harmful metrics. Stop measuring utilization. That just tells you if people look busy. Stop obsessing over velocity. It's a planning tool, not a report card. Instead, you focus on what really matters. You look at lead time. You track throughput, how many items are actually getting finished. You're shifting the entire conversation from how busy are we to how fast are we delivering value.
So, you've optimized the flow, you're measuring the right things, but a perfectly designed system is useless without a healthy team to run it. And that brings us to our next chapter, building a culture of quality, because a smooth flow is built on a foundation of trust and team health.
And one of the first things you might have to fight is this terrible idea of measuring defects per developer. The moment you hear a manager ask for this, you have to step in. It is a trap, and it's one of the single fastest ways to completely destroy a team's culture.
Why? Because you have to explain that most defects aren't one person's fault, they're symptoms of a broken system. When you start blaming individuals, you create fear.
People start hiding bugs, they stop taking risks. You think you're improving quality, but you're actually just pushing all the problems underground.
This kind of unhealthy culture also shows up in another all-too-common anti-pattern: retrospective theater. Oh man, you know this one. The team gets together, they talk about the same frustrations sprint after sprint after sprint, and absolutely nothing changes. It's a performance of improvement, not actual improvement.
So, how do you break this cycle? You have to make improvement real work. It's not just talk. Use a technique like 5 whys to get to the actual root cause. Then, create a real action item for it and put it right into the next sprint backlog. And crucially, assign it to a single owner. That's how you turn complaints into action.
Okay, last piece of the puzzle, and this is huge. A great Scrum Master connects all of this work, the negotiation, the flow optimization, the culture building, back to what the business actually cares about: results. This is how you demonstrate your value at a strategic level. You stop talking about story points. No one in the C-suite cares about story points. You start showing them the business outcomes. Reduced lead time, that means faster delivery. Increased release frequency, that means more agility. A lower defect rate, that means higher quality. These are the numbers that matter.
I mean, just imagine showing your VP a chart like this, where the mean time to recovery, how fast you can fix things when they break, has gone from 8 hours down to under 2. That's not a tech metric, that's a business metric. That's you telling them, we have made the system more resilient and we are protecting our revenue and our reputation. That is powerful stuff.
So when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway? A great Scrum Master is so much more than a meeting facilitator. You are a system architect. You're designing and building a whole system of people, processes, and technology that's an engine for delivering continuous value. And that's the playbook. So the final question isn't for me, it's for you. Looking at your own system, what's the one bottleneck, the one thing you can start tackling tomorrow? Thanks for joining our explainer.